Hi and welcome back to Boat Life Balance. I'm Captain Ned, your personal boating instructor and boating advocate. Let's talk about why I want you to be annoyed with safety equipment. Why do I want you to be annoyed with safety equipment? Because I want it in the forefront of your mind. It only has to work that one time. That life jacket only has to work that one time. It's only a life jacket if you're wearing it. It's another cushion on the boat. If it's on the boat and you're in the water, it's already too late. I want you to be annoyed with, oh, I have to keep replacing and servicing these things. I've got to, the flares are only good for 2 years. Oh, the EPIRB, you've got to test it every 6 months or every couple of months actually. And then, in 5 years time, I've got to trade it in or swap it over. They're actually getting better now. I think I should have a PLB on my self-inflatable vest. They've got the damn cylinders and they've got to be inspected every year. They've got to be blown up and put down. And, I want you to be annoyed with it. I'd rather you be annoyed with how much you have to spend and the fact that you put more into your safety equipment than other people do. You don't just follow the basic requirements for the state, you actually do extra things. Okay, all this equipment just has to work that once, and it's so obvious, and you already know what I'm going to say. It's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. I'd rather it stay dry in the cabinet. I'd rather you don't have to push that button and say the M word 3 times. I would much rather it all just sit there, but in absolute readiness and absolute pristine condition, and get frustrated with the fact that I've never had to use this stuff and I've got to keep replacing it. Well, that's a good thing. That's a big win in boating. That's massive. So let's talk a little bit about boat safety. Let's talk about your VHF radio, which is your best port in the storm. Like, you pick that thing up and you ask for help. Everyone with a VHF radio is going to hear you. Now with AIS, everyone's going to see you where you are if you've got a race transponder. It doesn't work in really remote places, but in coastal, you can even track. Your family can track you if you've got AIS. That sounds a bit scary, but if you're doing a longer voyage, and if you've got like a Garmin or a Raymarine tracker system or whatever, and you can link them into it, they're like, oh, that's nice, there they are, oh, they're there. God forbid something goes wrong, and they go, oh, they're not there. And you've said, if you can't see me half a day, I need you to call someone. It's the reason that when you log your EPIRB, you have an EPIRB number, and that number is registered in Australia with AMSA, Australian Maritime Safety Authority, so that when that signal goes off, the information in that signal, including your emergency contacts, next of kin, the name of the boat, the size of the boat, the vessel, all that sort of stuff, the operating parameters of the vessel, it's all there. It comes up on the screen like bing. Yes, if you have an EPIRB and you set it up, that signal will come up and it'll just say someone's in distress. But if you've got all that information, they know who to call on your behalf as well. So EPIRBs, VHF radio, best port in the storm. Get your VHF radio license. Like, it's really easy these days. It's just not, take the family, make an event of it. Instead of going to a movie, go get your VHF radio operator's license. You do need a license. You'll see in a video I did a while back, you do need a license to operate the VHF radio. But look, at the top of maritime safety is a very simple clause. You must make known of your predicament by any means at your disposal. So even if you don't have a license and you call for help, they're not going to go, oh, no, you don't have a license. You're not allowed to call for help on this channel. You don't have a license. You call for help on channel 16 or in the US, channel 9. Yeah, if you've got on the back of the licenses here in Australia, you actually have the direct number to the water police, which is often mentioned in the boat licensing courses. Because you call 000, yes, it's great. They'll put you through, but you're going to a call centre first. If you call the water police, you're going directly to the water police. So if you've got the opportunity to have someone on VHF, yep, and someone on the phone, the emergency service coordination will prioritise which one of those or both they want in that matrix of safety, maritime safety. So, and they'll tell you to hang up one or use one or keep both going. So let's talk about life jackets. Your life jackets are that thing that you wear, and they're used in moments of heightened risk, or depending on the size of the vessel or the legislation within the state. When you're by yourself on a boat, you should just have one. When you're on a smaller boat, an open boat, you should just be wearing them. The boats over Hull over harbour, I mean, why? I watch that and I just go, what? Why are these people going out in these conditions in the first place? And there was one that we've all seen it, a young woman that gets knocked off the front of the boat and into the water, and that's horrible. God, Thankfully, she didn't smack her head on the way down and go in unconscious. They're on the front of the boat to start with. They're in a bow rider, and it's just, no. If you're going across a bar, everyone's inside down the back, the weight's down the back, everyone's in the back, and the captain has to trim the boat accordingly and drive the boat at the right speed. If she had a life jacket on, it would have been a lot better. She, one, would have been able to float a lot easier. If she had have gone in unconscious, she would have survived more than likely. All PFD ones, whether they're inflatable or foam, they have a big collar that comes around. And PFD inflatables, they're just this tube, this inflatable tube that goes down around here and comes down here, right? So the foam, they have, you'll notice a collar. The idea with the collar is, and the reason the foam and flotation is on the front, if you go in unconscious, that flotation will roll you up in the water and keep your head up. Yep, and keep your airway open enough, hopefully, that you're unconscious. And also, she would have been a lot easier to see. So that's something you'll see if you go into those, boats crossing Hull over harbour. You'll see those videos. It's just bonkers. You'll also see a lot about boats that shouldn't actually go at those conditions, aka bow riders. Anyway, there's no such thing as good or bad boat. There's just lifestyle expectation, area of operation, budget, ease of use, and time. The 5 key elements or pillars of boating, which you'll hear me go on about again and again. Now, with kids in life jackets, kids are like, why do I have to wear this? It's uncomfortable. I don't like this, like little kids. Because in Victoria and Australia, we have to have, kids under 12 have to be in life jackets at all times when on the outside of the cabin. And it's like this little bit of grey area. I'm like, no. If I'm chartering for someone, and if there's kids under 12, I just say jackets on all the time. Don't recommend the inflatable ones for kids. If you're going to get inflatable ones for kids, they have to be self-inflatable. They have to go off as soon as that thing hits water. You can't have a kid pulling a toggle, like, pull the cord, Johnny, pull the cord from the back of the boat. You're like, what? I'm freaking out in the water here. I'm taking in mouthfuls of water and you want me to what? Pull, what? Can't hear. So don't put kids in inflatable life jackets. Put them in foam. Put them in really cool jackets, not the jet ski jackets. They've got to have that collar, remember, the PFD type 1. But you can go to the shops and you can go and get one in the colour they like and a style they like. And they've got ones with, Spider-Man on them and all that sort of stuff. And go, we're going on the boat. You know what to do? Yeah, I'll get my jacket. And they run and they grab their jacket. They put it on there. I'm ready to go. And it's like you have to fight them to get it off, to put them in their kid seat. Oh, I don't want to take my jacket off. You've got to put your kid seat on. Just put it back on when we get there. I'd rather you have an argument with your child about having to take it off to fit them in the kid seat than have an argument with them putting it on the boat. You get what I'm saying? And the other reason we do that, and I say to people when I'm instructing them, is the safest place to put your life jacket on your kids is the car park. What? Yeah. The only time I've actually ever, twice, had to reach down and pick up a child out of the water. One was wearing a life jacket, the other one was not. Was going from the marina to the boat. Kids, even small children, are very aware when they're out in the water, they're in a new environment and they're like, whoa, that's all water out there. And this is the safe dry space, right? Some kids, however, have somewhat challenges with just spatial awareness and they just want to run and climb and do all that sort of stuff, but they do actually realise they're on water. But when they're in that marina space, they're jumping from the boat to the marina and they're excited, and you just have to turn around and, put something down or put your shopping down or, open the esky just to throw a bag of ice in there and you hear a splash and you're like, what is that? Johnny's in the water. Okay, so that's enough on life jackets. As a skipper, as the captain of the boat, you have to be the most stoic person on the boat. If you lose your cool, even when things aren't cool, the whole boat is going to lose their cool. And that's when you can lose the boat. Because if people lose faith in your ability to stay cool, calm and collected, they start to get very nervous, tenfold, very quickly. So what I say, if you're going to areas and you go, ooh, this is starting to get a bit tense, so you can start with saying something like this. Look, guys, I've got this. I know this is getting a bit rough. But I think you'd probably feel more comfortable if you just put your life jackets on, because I'm putting mine on, right? Lead by example. Let's look at things like fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers are the most forgotten about thing, and the amount of times I go and I look at a fire extinguisher and the needle's now in the red, or it's all just corroded, or they've got like a 1.5 kilo fire extinguisher tucked up near the galley. That's the galley one. I think it's got about of use. That's about all you're going to get out of 1.5 kilo. It's sort of like and a little bit more. And the amount of fuel you carry determines how much dry powder, how much foam you carry, depending on this boat. Have a fire plan. Think about it. I don't want you to sit there thinking about worst case scenarios and how bad things are going to get. I want you to think about, okay, this is what could happen. I've done all I can to mitigate that happen, but if that did happen, how would we handle that? Okay, so we'll talk a lot about that and ask questions on this stuff, and we will get back to them as soon as humanly possible. We've got life rafts, which are really cool. If you're going a long range cruising, now you can actually hire life rafts. You don't have to buy a whole life raft, which is probably a better option. Life rafts are good, but do some training in them. But for those who are just a little bit more relaxed on this stuff, just take the moment, take the time to actually read what it does, read the procedure, read how to deploy it. So often I'll get on a boat as a boating instructor and I'll get the EPIRB and I'll say, okay, let's test the EPIRB. And I'll flick the switch off and there's a button that says on, and I go, okay, you push that button, a little light goes beep, and then I say turn it around, and then there's a little light that goes beep, 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 green light. That's done. That's all you have to do every couple of months. And the look on their face when I flip that little thing on there, who's he going to set it off? Are we going to have a helicopter coming over us? Are we going to have to pay for an emergency rescue that we didn't actually need? I'm like, no, it's just a test button. But yes, when you need it, you slide it over and you lock it back down, and then it goes through test cycle. Oh, this isn't a test. Bing, I'm off. And so you've got a bit of time. The amount of time that I'll actually get on a radio, VHF radio, and I'll say, Marine Radio Victoria, Marine Radio Victoria, Marine Radio Victoria. This is vessel Sunday, requesting a radio check on channel 16. And they'll come back, vessel Sunday. This is Marine Radio Victoria. We are reading you 5 by 5, which means strength 5 and readability 5, which is the highest. It's out of 5. Is there anything else you would need to know today, sir? And I say, Marine Radio Victoria, this is vessel Sunday. Thank you, that is all for today, and we'll maintain a listening watch on channel 16 out. And that's it. But the looks, you get like, oh, he did a thing with the radio. Because people look at these things, they look at emergency equipment sometimes, and they go, it's there, and when I need it, it will be there. When you need it, you need to know how to use it before you need it. So put the life jackets on, adjust them, make them. This is Sally, this is Jane's, this is Robert's, this is Sarah's, this is, right? If you're working as a crew, you're working as a couple, and you've got, someone's going out in the foredeck to help with the anchoring, deploy or retrieval, and they're going out in a bit of choppy conditions, get them to wear their self-inflatable life jacket. I think foredeck work especially is definitely a self-inflatable life jacket. On yachts, it's a bit different because you get a lot of splash when you're sailing and stuff, and sometimes they will go off. But on a motorboat, it's people go, oh yeah, but they might go off accidentally. I'm like, if it's gone off accidentally and you're on a motorboat, you've got that much spray coming over the front of the boat and it goes off, it might not be a bad thing. So, yeah, if the conditions are that bad, you've got a life jacket on anyway. From my experience, people sort of have safety equipment there. Where's your safety equipment? It's over there. Or it's underneath the bunk in the and it's down here. Or if we just moved this safety equipment out from under the helm chair, we'd have more room for chips and biscuits. It should be right near the skipper and first mate's positions. It should be as close to them as possible. It should be in a position where they can deploy, hand out, operate, and utilize whilst maintaining an adequate watch of what's going on and being within communication with each other. If all your life jackets are down under the forward bed because I'm not going to use them, I hope you're never going to use them, I'm never going to use them, but I'm going to put them down there so they're out of the way. So, if we need them, they're under the bed, and you lift the bed up and it's got a gas strut on it, and just lift the bed up. What if you lift the bed up and the gas strut's gone? You're trying to get life jackets on the back of the bed, slamming down on the back of your head in a seaway, and the boat's bouncing up and down. You see what I mean? It's like, just have it close, like really, really close by. And I'm sure more lives would have been saved that way. And I'm sure there's maritime incident reports that will reflect that the equipment wasn't easy to hand, is the term they use. Was it easy to hand? No, it wasn't. Was that a contributing factor? Yes, it was. So we've covered quite a lot of safety equipment. Flares, know how to use them. A lot of the yacht clubs will have nights where they actually get like the rescue to come and show you how to use flares. They'll actually get you to use, like they'll have a fire pan with an oil fire in it. They'll get you to use a fire extinguisher. Any opportunity you've got to do any safety training whatsoever, just take it. It's great fun. It's putting out fires in an oil pan with a fire extinguisher in a controlled situation with your kids. They're gonna love it. Get involved with safety, because when the bananas hit the oscillator, then you're just like, right, first step is A, B, C, D. The situation is degenerating from a secured A to a pan. Okay, now we're the M word, Mayday. Right, what happens in a Mayday? We have to do this, we have to communicate with this way, there's a man overboard, what do we need to do? It's really hard to relocate someone when you've taken their eyes off them and gone, hey Bob, someone over here. Oh, if you see someone fall in, you just eyes on that person. Do not take eyes off that person. Start yelling at the top of your lungs, overboard, overboard, overboard. Keep your eyes on them. So the other thing too is you've got life rings, and throw the life ring, all that sort of stuff. I like the soft ones because they're not like knocking someone out with this hard disc. Practice it. Have a game with the kids. You know, when you do your crew briefing and safety is really important. A crew briefing, or a briefing to everyone on board the boat who's new to your boat, does a few things. And this is part of my instruction as well. If you give a crew briefing and a safety briefing of your vessel and where things are on your vessel and how to use your vessel, it communicates a very clear message. I am the master of this domain, without being fully yourself. There is no democracy on a ship, but I know my boat, and I know how to operate my boat, and I know where everything is on my boat. It's not guesswork. It's the same thing if the water police pull you up and ask you where your safety equipment is. If you go, they're like, okay, hang on, and they'll probably get on board and have to go through it all with you. But now another thing, I use some really, really cheesy, when I'm doing it myself, really cheesy dad jokes. The ones you can think up, the worse the better. You want the eye rolls and the, yeah, that's great, funny. But what you're looking for is one person that's sitting with their arms folded, deadpan, not getting the joke. And I've literally heard this. Excuse me, why are the life jackets wet from yesterday? They're the weakest link in your day. They're nervous. They probably won't speak up because they don't want to show up in front of other people. They're nervous. Right, now you can have a conversation with them, say, look, are you really comfortable with being on the boat, whatever, this sort of thing. Don't make a big deal of it, but where you put them is right next to you as the skipper. You put them close to you, you keep them with you, you talk to them, you ask them about their day and what they're doing, you let them talk, let them just, because they're the weakest link. They're the one that's going to, in an emergency situation, they're the one that's probably going to go to pieces first. So they need to start to really connect with your ability and your confidence in what you're doing, right? So that's so important. The other thing too is we have a saying, the old skippers used to say, put the greenie on the helm. If someone's getting seasick and they're like, oh, this is getting a bit much, sometimes you can put them on the wheel. Under your instruction, of course, but if you put them on the wheel, they've got a sense of equilibrium. A third sense of equilibrium often keeps them calm. So I've digressed from safety equipment, but I think we've covered safety equipment enough, and how you let people know about the safety equipment, how you identify who's nervous about being on your boat. And I think you've got the theme through all of this is use it, practice it, learn it, understand it, and understand your local requirements for it. All right, so I've been Captain Ned, your personal instructor and boating advocate. Hope you're getting some great value out of this. Please like, subscribe, and share. Happy boating. Bye for now.